The UK election is here, and traditionally most Muslim voters in Britain have backed the Labour Party, largely because it usually attracts working class and pro-immigration support. According to 2021 census, 6.5% of the population in England and Wales identified as Muslim. There are 20 constituencies in the UK with voters that is more than 30% Muslim. All of them elected a Labour MP in 2019. If we go back, Labour's Muslim support dropped from 75% in 2001 to 38% in 2004 after the Iraq invasion, and it climbed back up in 2015 when 64% Muslims voted for Labour. It peaked more than at 80% when Jeremy Corbyn was leader between 2015 and 2020. But the relationship between Muslims and Keir Starmer's Labour has changed when Labour gave its full support to the Conservatives for his support for Israel's genocide in Palestine. And Starmer publicly supported Israel's war crimes by expressing that it had the right to withhold power, water and food from Gaza. Allegations and criticism by Labour councillors had been dismissed as if it doesn't matter. In November, Keir Starmer ordered his party not to back a ceasefire in the parliamentary vote called by the Scottish National Party, but 56 Labour MPs defied him and voted for it anyway. Muslims were upset, and this became apparent when former Labour MP George Galloway, representing his left-wing Workers' Party of Britain, won a landslide by-election in Rochdale, where 27% of the population are Muslims. Labour had withdrawn its support for its candidate Azhar Ali after he made a comment about Israel's war in Gaza when he said that Israel had allowed Hamas to attack on October 7th in order to get a green light to do whatever it wants, for which later he apologized. But he did not need to do this because he was right. Look at what Israel's done now. It has completely destroyed Gaza and killed over 40,000 people. But Shadow Secretary David Lammy in November said that it can be legally justified for Israel to bomb refugee camps, and this is somehow okay with the Labour Party. During the last local elections in May, Labour lost a third of its vote share in Muslim majority areas, and a Labour Party source reportedly referred to the Muslim votes as shaking off the fleas. This comment emerged during the concerns about the Labour Party's handling of issues related to Islamophobia and its stance on the Gaza genocide. This dehumanizing language further exemplifies the hostile nature of Starmer's Labour Party towards Muslims. Now let's look at some Muslim Labour MPs. Shadow Secretary Shabana Mahmood defended the party's position but acknowledged the loss of trust among the Muslim community due to Labour's stance on Gaza. That's all she had to say, but no open support for a ceasefire. The next one is even worse. Roshanara Ali, the Labour MP for Bethnal Green and Bow, while she has expressed support for an internationally backed humanitarian ceasefire, she has voted against a specific ceasefire motion in Parliament, arguing that it will not effectively lead to a cessation of hostilities, and she abstained from a parliamentary vote calling for a ceasefire in November 2023. This vote led to protests outside her office. The sad thing is, she did not even lend her vote to the people of Gaza, whether it would be a symbolic vote or not. These MPs only care about their careers. They don't really represent the view of their constituency, and if you get a chance to vote them out, you should. Labour gave no real opposition to the UK government's support for Israel's genocide in Gaza. By not providing any opposition, it actually made it easy for the British government to continually send weapons to Israel, making it complicit in this genocide. Now the British government has challenged the ICC on its jurisdiction over Israel's war crimes in Gaza. They are doing this to shield Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant from their impending arrest warrants. In retrospect, they are trying to save themselves from the ICC courts. Keir Starmer has caused another controversy by targeting a significant group of the UK's ethnic population, and that is the Bangladeshis. In his bid to win this election, he is pandering to the right-wing politics. And now he's out in the open here when he was addressing a group of audience who read the Sun newspaper, and most of these people are slightly racist. And Starmer takes Labour's hate politics on a completely different level. And if you were angry with the Labour Party before for siding with the genocidal regime, this is another proof that there is not much to choose from between Labour Party and the Conservatives. If anything, Labour is desperate to outsmart the Conservatives in the hate politics. He was asked about the immigration issue, and he says that his priority is going to be to send the Bangladeshis back to Bangladesh.
So on the first few days in government, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put the staff back in the returns unit. I'll make sure that we've got planes going off, not to Rwanda, because that's expensive. That's an expensive gimmick. They will go back to the countries where people come from. That's what used to happen.
Where? I mean, it's so hard to do.
Well, at the moment, people coming from countries like Bangladesh are not being removed.
What did the Bangladeshis do other than loyally support Labour generation after generation, only to see themselves spoken about as if they were illegal aliens arriving on a south coast beach? Keir Starmer, the Bengali people you talk of are one of the hardest working people in Britain, and many of them work till early morning 6 days a week. The Bangladeshis single-handedly built a multi-billion pound curry industry in Britain, which contributes 4.5 billion to the UK economy, and they're being talked of as if there was some kind of dirt that has to be swept under the doorsteps. So the Labour Party under Keir Starmer has shown a profound lack of empathy, respect and support for the Bangladeshi and Muslim communities. Its stance on the Israeli genocide, offensive rhetoric and failure to oppose injustice make it an unsuitable choice for voters who prioritize justice and human rights. Voting for independent candidates who genuinely represent their views and values, all voters, including Muslims and Bangladeshis, can make a powerful statement against the moral and political failures of the Labour Party. This is not just about political strategy, it's about standing up for the principles of justice, equality and human dignity. The choice is clear. It's time to support those who truly represent your values and concerns. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment, and this will help my channel grow.